Welcome to Windsor Gallery Art Chat. I'm here, Theo Alonso, the curator at Windsor Gallery.
With his co-host, Wofai Young. And we have a special guest here. His name is Rodney, and he's the host of a podcast called The Young God. And thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. So Rodney, thank you for being here. I'm very happy to be sitting down with you, and maybe I can learn a thing or two from you. So the whole reason why we're kind of doing this and why it's important to have somebody like you here with us is we're trying to echo kind of all the creative and artistic things that are going on in our really wonderful city of Abuja. And I think you are probably one of the most successful podcasters we have. And you've been very consistent, throughout your time. And you've also had the pleasure of speaking to a lot of really interesting people about a lot of really interesting subjects. So yeah, it's very nice to kind of have you here today.
Yeah.
Okay. Rodney, are you an art collector?
Yes.
How many pieces do you have?
I have 7 here and 7 in my village.
Oh, wow. And you like traditional pieces?
Mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any pieces that are like 100 years, family heirlooms? Or
No, these are stuff I've just collected that were either gifts or things I had seen that I really, really liked. And some from the street, some from, a local artist. Some of them are carved masks from when I was in Nairobi, so just a variety of things that just reflect my appreciation and my budget. Yeah, very important, so I like to catch them young, see meet greatness when it's early and just get a piece of that as my contribution to their ministry. And then before you know it, they're exhibiting at Windsor. And it's like, damn, I have something from the earlier days, which may or may not trump what's on the walls. Like I have something special before, so who knows? There's just a lot of things. And I hope to get some more. I think by the time I really, really get a sense of what where my heart is artistically in terms of what I want to put in my space again. Because I've gotten stuck on some favorite pieces and I don't want to add to it. But I'm looking forward to a time when, I'm ready to add again to build it. So yeah, 7-14. Yeah.
So do you collect any emerging Abuja artists? Have you done any of that?
A2B is one guy whose stuff I have.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic painter.
A2B. Like I said, I caught him young. He's been creating mad stuff forever. So he was a guest on my podcast. And he, in fact, did the cover for season 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah.
He designed a cover for it specifically. So I have that, and I have one that I bought of him as well. And so yeah, that's one of the guys. And then just some other, people who, well, when they get on Windsor, I'll be like, I'll make a post on Instagram. Hey.
Yeah, we're actually really, we're working with A2B actually. He's been part of some of our plans, and yeah, we're definitely trying to bring him back here at some point. I mean, he's one of my favorite artists at the moment. And I think all my favorite artists at the moment happen to be Abuja-based artists. And I don't know if it's because it's kind of close to home or it's what I'm just kind of constantly seeing.
We're working with now, so we're seeing a lot of them, lots of amazing artists.
But I just find that the creativity here is unmatched. Yeah. And it's just kind of sad that there's not a strong enough audience to kind of reflect all the work that's kind of going on. Because there is a measure of success, right? And a kind of success kind of in this kind of space kind of comes with the feedback that you kind of get from it. So it's, I think it's something that also we're getting better at. I mean, there's literally an art exhibition every 3 weeks in Abuja now.
There's a lot of things happening in the space now that we're excited about. We're happy that people are getting to know more about what we're trying to do here. So let's talk about your podcast. What's the inspiration? The name and like what is it about? Like talk to us about that.
So it started, for the longest time I always felt like I knew something others didn't. And I lived in a bubble growing up until maybe after I left uni. And by bubble, I mean, I was always surrounded by like a lot of good things. I was raised incredibly well and I had great friends growing up. I had great friends in uni. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that everything was perfect, but like when I look at the net total of what has gotten me to adulthood, it's like, it was only after I maybe got on Twitter heavy that I started finding out that, oh shit, you know,
Like this happened.
yeah, things like all the things that people go crazy about, like, whoa, you know, people are like doing that to each other.
Like,
You know, that kind of
this
thing.
is happening?
Yeah. So I was always getting those moments, like, cause I thought everyone, you know, lived like this and like had this
everybody
kind of,
was calm, everybody was cool,
Yeah.
everybody stayed away from
You know,
drama.
I thought everyone was confident. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But so it took those things and I was like, you know what? I have information that can help others to figure out, you know, their mental health, their career issues, their relationship issues. Like I have really, really practical insights and understanding of different things from, you know, my journey as an artist, as a thinker, as a doer, you know, and a lot of things that I've done and seen that has like the, you know, earned wisdom, you know, from for the longest time. So the podcast, and at the same time, I saw myself, when I just looked at all of that, it gave me that extra, you know what, shit, maybe I'm a god out here. That's really how it happened. You know, maybe, you know, this is what it means to be made in the image of God. I feel this like I'm in my element all the time, and I can't remember a time when I wasn't. And then, but I understand how I got there, how I was able to reach this, what I did, the demons I faced. You know, I always say that I learned very early that I could be bad, so I decided to be good. I learned very early that I can be an asshole.
Yeah.
You know.
And you just
But
maybe
choose
choose not
Yeah.
asshole. There's already enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I now saw the value in that, how that affected things around me and how it gave me space to like do all the things I wanted to do, to the point where I can do a podcast and, you know, do it consistently. It's all from the journey to get here, you know. So the podcast is just my expression of those ideas, those things that I think people should know, they would want to know, they would enjoy. There's also a lot of flair to it. Like I bring my own personal like eccentricities.
Yeah, you
and
do.
yeah, it's equal parts. I always say it's at the intersection of lifestyle, culture, and personal development. So it's a very unique intersection in that way, right?
This might be the curator in me talking, but I mean, you kind of gave a brilliant artist kind of statement. And it just kind of got me thinking that your approach to your podcast, why you kind of doing it, is a very similar way to why an artist go into kind of like making art. And, you know, you have a medium, which is the podcast, and you have your reasoning behind it, which is to actually bring value where you've recognized that there isn't. In a very humbling kind of way, you know, like being very philanthropic about it.
Is that how you would describe it, Theo?
I don't know. I think there's a big sense of like philanthropy in being an artist, you know, because you take on the role of like a social journalist. You know, you are reflecting a world that is imperfect for a lot of people, you know, back to a society. And why are you doing this? Because you want to see it improve, because you have something to say, you have value to add. You're a big man. You love value. You're big on value.
You know what it is, Theo? It's when as you're saying this, I'm thinking to myself, basically, I got into something that no one asked me to do, that no one, that I didn't, like you're basically offering up something that no one asked you to make. How do you even put money on that? You know what I mean? How do you even like begin to justify that? So it's the most irrational thing being an artist at the very core of it. It's like, no one asked for this.
Literally. No one said.
Yeah, but I want to do it. And
and I want you to value it.
Yeah, so the daring to do when no one has asked you to do it is really the ultimate thing that separates. So when I hear artists complain about things, I'm like, you ain't got it like that, bro. Like to be an artist is to accept 100% that you're in this not for the guarantee, but for the possibility.
Yeah.
You make peace with that on day one. And from that point, you can endure a lot of the highs and lows of the process of figuring it out. So when people are in between two minds about why they're in it, it's going to show up in their work. It's going to show up in their effort. It's going to show up in their inability to sustain their artistry. So you might blow today, but can you keep it up? Because you've not yet really finished that demon that makes you feel like what you're doing, what's the point? It's not just, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah, so there's that aspect of it that if you're able to see it as a gallery, as a curator, you can see the difference in artists. You would also be able to elevate, because that's the other thing. A lot of artists make it to the scene, but it's, for most curators or galleries, it's just, it's a nice, pretty picture.
I mean, there's so much work that, the curator has to go into, like translating what the artist is creating into an experience and like facilitate like a process of passing on that knowledge, that creativity, the intention behind it to an audience to hopefully get the response that you need. I mean, most galleries in Nigeria don't kind of like charge an entry fee, which I think is a wonderful thing. Galleries are very accessible spaces. So artists have, avenues, right? But curation then comes into the how, right? And then which speaks very much to the why, for example. So here we have, a gallery that the walls kind of change, as every exhibition goes up. It's not something that we do because, it's nice, it's fresh, it's cool, but because every exhibition is unique, right? Every artist makes art for a different reason. And you need to kind of craft these experiences so that you can kind of complete the journey, right? Your intention, creation, and then translation, right? That moment where it kind of gets from the artist to whoever it's intended for, the audience, the general public, or anything, to hopefully facilitate some kind of change. Yeah. And we need so much change in this country.
We do.
It's
alarming how much we do need so much change.
And I would argue that artists are so key to this change in the sense, and we know this in the sense, but like the details of it, we know our weakness as a country. It's obvious and it is also not so obvious. And an artist's job is to figure out how to pass that message along. Which is why, again, it goes back to that intention we spoke about earlier, like accepting your role as an artist, which is to tell secrets.
Yeah.
To hide secrets in plain sight. Amidst all the entertainment that's happening, to find a way to communicate something, the thing that somebody will look at or experience and feel the need to change. I remember, when we think of how powerful the American dream idea was, that Hollywood, the role Hollywood played in shaping America, generation. Right? The role the Renaissance played, the artistry during the Renaissance period, how it affected the rest of culture. So I just know that whenever artists in the space get serious, shit happens.
Yeah.
So the question is, where are the serious artists? And of course, there's, everyone wants to And I don't mean serious, just like just taking themselves too serious, but like creating things that. Well, anyway, it's easier said anyway. It's easier said.
You see, I also.
But it'd be cool to aspire to that.
Yeah.
As an artist, to say, I want to understand my audience, this audience, then I want to understand how my skill, can get into these, like, how can I use this thing to, and that's what God gave all these gifts for, to find it, to use it to affect something in somebody.
But I find that it's not happening fast enough, right? Because you have a rise in problems, a rise in like no solutions to the problems. And you have a response to that, which is the rise of, the artist in society, the artist as change maker. But who are they influencing? Then there's a general public. But is the public at the level where it's easy for, like, artists create work and the public can easily kind of be receptive to it? I find that like a lot of people kind of stay away from galleries, stay away from museums, stay from all of these things because they imagine there is some sort of intellectuality that you kind of need to have, a kind of mental capacity to be a certain type of person to be able to engage with it. And I don't necessarily disagree. I feel like art can be very universal in how it just makes, you can just feel something just by looking at it. But sometimes I do believe that the intention can be lost. And often it is. But it's not necessarily a problem. I think it's just the time period. That more and more and more people will start challenging their ideas of themselves and how they see art, how they see the world, and slowly become people who can be influenced by this change. So that's just my little hope.
And I totally agree with you. Yes, because like when people see other people that engage with art like us, like they think that we maybe have a certain level of skill, or maybe they taught us. You can actually
we're
also
snobs.
get it.
Yeah.
Yes. And they also view it as classist. And I don't think so, because it's acceptable for everyone. You can enjoy it no matter when you started looking at art or when you started loving art. I think it's very enjoyable. Like, people just don't want to accept it yet. I don't know. It just, sometimes the point just flies over some people's heads. Like,
I always say that if it's classist to enjoy art, then call me classist. Like,
I agree.
It's the most wholesome thing. I was just talking about our taste, right? Earlier today. And so I was going to say about my taste journey and how I, come to understand these things is I remember the day to this day when I first experienced Michael Jackson. It changed my life. I was 5 years old. My dad played it and it changed what I expect from the art that I consume, from the music I hear, from the people that I stan. Like, he set the bar. Like, I saw magic.
The king set the bar.
So then I now look across other aspects of life, other industries, and I see how individuals that fit this mold, who have really taken their craft so seriously that it has the power to affect somebody in a way where whatever they're doing, they want to be like that to that. Steph Curry also has that effect on me. When I see Steph Curry do what he does, be a literal artist on the not just as a basketball player, but his character as well, the way he navigates the storm of the NBA, narratives and media, like with so much class. There's an award that he usually give out, the Magic Johnson Media Award, where the player is who it shows the most class dealing with the media and with the fans. So Steph Curry has won that twice in a row, just to show you that kind of things, in addition to being such a great player. So that affects me, and I'm guessing others in a certain way, to be exposed to that kind of excellence. And then you look at yourself and you say, I don't have to cut corners. I don't have to be an asshole about it. If I focus on what my strengths are and focus more on what I can give, put forth that energy of giving to the culture, like committing to the process of this thing, it lifts all ships. Yeah. There's nothing that is more, that's the most effective evangelism. Nothing lifts another person up than seeing like that pure intention in someone else. So, that's artistry at the core of it. Am I spitting?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you are.
Yeah.
You know-
Like 100%.
Rodney, you've opened my eyes a bit more today. Thank you very much. Your insight into these things that we do is
And just the way you
it's
view the world as
refreshing.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
I think there's it's good that you actually do have a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, out of
Just-
all of those people out there who I like listening to, you are one of them.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I have an audience like you. I'm very big on the quality of my audience.
Oh, yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Rodney.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
It's a
We
pleasure.
really enjoyed this, and we hope to sit down to have conversations again.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you.